You think Solo Sikoa is still the most dangerous man in the Bloodline? Then explain this, because last Friday backstage, Jacob Fatu didn't just send a message, he lit a fuse, and if you missed the look in Solo's eyes, you missed the moment everything started falling apart. Jacob Fatu didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The silence around him did the screaming. One step closer to Solo. One sentence. And suddenly the so-called tribal heir looked less like a leader and more like a man realizing the monster he invited is no longer taking orders. Be honest, did Solo look in control to you or did he look shaken? Drop your answer below. Here's what should make you angry as a fan. Solo Sikoa built his power by claiming loyalty, fear, and family. But Jacob Fatu, he doesn't run on loyalty. He runs on destruction. And backstage on SmackDown, that difference became impossible to ignore. This wasn't brotherhood. This was a warning disguised as respect. Watch it back carefully. Jacob didn't threaten Solo directly. That's the scariest part. He talked about what happens when leadership gets weak. He talked about what happens when someone forgets who really handles business. That's not advice, that's a countdown. Was that a warning or a promise? And let's talk about Solo's reaction, because WWE wants you to think he's still the alpha. But alphas don't clench their jaw and look away. Alphas don't go silent when challenged. Solo didn't bark back. He absorbed it. And in the Bloodline, silence means fear. This is where the power dynamic flips. Solo Sikoa may wear the crown, but Jacob Fatu is reminding everyone that crowns can be taken violently. The Bloodline was built on intimidation, and now Solo is staring at someone who intimidates him. If this turns into a one-on-one match, who are you honestly betting on? What makes this worse and more brilliant is that Jacob Fatu doesn't even need to rush. He's patient. He's calculated. He knows Solo is already cracking under pressure from Roman's shadow, from the locker room, from the fans. Jacob just applied pressure at the exact right spot. And ask yourself this: if you were Solo, who do you trust right now? Because every enforcer eventually wants the throne. Every right-hand man eventually believes they're the real leader. Jacob Fatu isn't hiding that belief anymore. This is how bloodlines collapse, not with explosions, but with whispers that turn into wars. WWE didn't give us a fight backstage. They gave us something better: inevitability. Now here's the part nobody is talking about. If Jacob Fatu turns on Solo, does that make him the villain, or does it expose Solo as a weak leader who never deserved control in the first place? Who do you think the crowd would side with? SmackDown didn't just tease tension. It rewrote the future. Because once fear enters leadership, leadership is already dead. And Solo Sikoa felt fear. So don't blink. Don't skip segments. Because when this finally explodes, you'll remember this warning: the moment Jacob Fatu stopped following and started hunting. If this breakdown fired you up, share it with someone who still thinks Solo's in charge. And tell me in the comments, is Jacob Fatu the next ruler of the Bloodline, or the man who destroys it forever? Because here's the uncomfortable truth WWE doesn't want to say out loud yet: Solo Sikoa started this war the moment he thought fear equaled control. And Jacob Fatu, he doesn't fear anyone. That's why this situation is spiraling faster than Solo can contain it. Think about the timing. Solo didn't confront Jacob in the ring. He didn't assert dominance publicly. Why? Because deep down, Solo knows that once fists fly, hierarchy disappears. And Jacob thrives in chaos. Do you think Solo is avoiding a fight, or waiting to strike first? This is the same bloodline that once moved as one unit. One voice, one command. Now, every glance feels suspicious. Every alliance feels temporary. And Jacob Fatu standing there backstage wasn't just a warning to Solo, it was a message to the entire locker room: power is shifting. Notice how Jacob positions himself. Always calm, always grounded. That's not rage, that's confidence. The most dangerous kind. Solo's dominance has always been loud. Jacob's is quiet. And history tells us quiet dominance always wins. Ask yourself this: if Roman Reigns were standing there instead of Solo, does Jacob say the same thing? Or does he stay silent? That answer tells you everything about how Jacob sees Solo's legitimacy. And here's where it gets even more explosive: Solo can't remove Jacob without looking weak. If he turns on him now, he proves Jacob's point. If he doesn't, he looks scared. Solo is trapped by his own leadership style, and Jacob Fatu knows it. This isn't just about betrayal, it's about exposure. Jacob is exposing Solo as a placeholder, not a ruler. A man holding power, not commanding it. Do you think Solo earned his spot, or was it handed to him? WWE loves slow burns, and this one is cooking at a dangerous temperature. Every week without resolution makes the eventual collision more violent, more personal, and more unforgettable. And when it finally happens, don't be surprised if the crowd reaction shocks everyone backstage. Because fans respect authenticity. And right now, Jacob Fatu feels real, unfiltered, unchained. Solo feels like a man trying to live up to a shadow that keeps getting darker. So remember this moment. remember the warning. Remember the look on Solo's face when he realized intimidation doesn't work on everyone. Because when Jacob Fatu finally decides he's done talking, SmackDown won't be about who's in charge anymore, it'll be about who survives. And before anyone says this is just teasing tension, let's shut that down right now. This is not subtle storytelling. This is WWE screaming danger without ringing the bell yet. Because the moment Jacob Fatu spoke up backstage, the balance of fear flipped. Solo wasn't the storm anymore. He was standing in front of it. Here's something that should really bother you as a fan. Solo built his image on being the silent enforcer, the unstoppable wall. But Jacob, he's making Solo talk. He's forcing reactions. And the fastest way to expose a fake tough guy is to make him explain himself. Did you notice how Solo didn't shut Jacob down immediately? Why do you think that is? This is psychological warfare. Jacob isn't challenging Solo's strength, he's challenging his authority. And authority only exists when everyone agrees it does. The second Jacob questioned it out loud, the Bloodline stopped being united and started being divided. Now imagine this scenario: Solo finally snaps. He attacks Jacob first. What happens then? Jacob becomes the victim, the rebel, the man the fans rally behind. But if Jacob strikes first, he becomes the executioner. Either way, Solo loses control of the narrative, and in WWE, control is everything. Let's not ignore the crowd response either. Fans aren't stupid. They can smell forced dominance from a mile away. And when Jacob Fatu stands there calm, intense, unapologetic, it feels natural. If this leads to a split, who do you think gets the louder reaction? This is why this warning mattered more than any punch ever could. Because it planted doubt. In Solo's mind, in the Bloodline, and in the audience. Doubt is poison to leadership, and Jacob just injected it publicly. And here's the scariest part: Jacob Fatu hasn't even unleashed violence yet. No brawls, no sneak attacks, nothing. That means when he finally does, it won't be emotional, it'll be intentional. And that's when legends are made, or buried. So don't dismiss this as just another backstage segment. This was a line being drawn, and once lines are drawn in WWE, someone always crosses it. Final question before this all explodes. When this finally turns physical, do you want to see a slow burn betrayal, or an all-out Bloodline war on SmackDown? Alright, let's take this deeper, because this isn't just a backstage moment. This is a seismic shift in WWE's hierarchy, and every detail matters. Fans, pay attention. This is the kind of tension that can define careers. Jacob Fatu didn't just warn Solo Sikoa, he dissected him without touching him. Think about that. Most wrestlers need fists to make a point. Jacob doesn't. He uses presence, timing, and intelligence. That's what makes him terrifying. And if you replay the SmackDown segment, you can see it in Solo's micro-expressions: tight jaw, shifting eyes, hesitation. These aren't accidental. This is the psychological equivalent of a chokehold. Here's a question for the comments: have you ever seen Solo show doubt like that before? If yes, when? I want to see your takes, because this is rare. Solo is usually the embodiment of unshakable confidence. And now, that foundation is cracking. Now consider the bigger picture. Roman Reigns has dominated the Bloodline for years, using fear and charisma to maintain control. Solo Sikoa was supposed to be the enforcer, the unshakable right-hand man. But Jacob Fatu exposes a truth that WWE rarely shows: strength isn't about size, it's about conviction. And right now, Solo's conviction is being tested publicly, privately, and visibly to the locker room. Jacob's approach is methodical. He doesn't rush in and attack Solo physically because that's not his style. Instead, he threatens Solo's authority, slowly undermining him in front of everyone. That's the kind of backstage dominance that can ruin reputations and careers. And Solo knows it, which is why his silence speaks louder than any punch could. Ask yourself this: if Solo loses this mental battle, how does it affect his standing with Roman and the Bloodline? Because in WWE, perception is everything. Once doubt enters the mix, loyalty evaporates. And Jacob Fatu knows exactly how to weaponize that doubt. Here's something that should really make you think: the Bloodline has always been about loyalty, but loyalty has conditions, namely respect and fear. Jacob is flipping that equation. He's showing that respect without strength is meaningless. And Solo, who built his role on intimidation, now finds himself intimidated. And fans, don't overlook the timing here. SmackDown's writers didn't put this moment in the middle of the show by accident. Placing Jacob's warning backstage, rather than in a match, elevates the psychological stakes. WWE is asking us to feel the tension, to predict the fallout, to debate who comes out on top. And here's the kicker, every week this tension exists, it grows. Slowly, dangerously, like a storm building off screen. Another question for you to answer: if Jacob Fatu challenges Solo in the ring next week, do you think it should be a one-on-one match, or should Roman intervene to maintain control? Your answers might predict WWE's next move, because the writers are watching fan reactions too. Let's also talk about strategy. Solo can't attack Jacob first without looking weak. And if he waits, Jacob will strike at the perfect moment. Either way, Solo is in a no-win scenario. That's brilliance in storytelling, putting a character in a trap that feels inescapable, forcing the audience to speculate constantly. And the implications extend beyond these two men. The Bloodline has other members, other followers. When Jacob makes his move, it won't just affect Solo, it will challenge the loyalty of everyone around him. Will they side with the established era, or will they follow the unstoppable force of Jacob Fatu? So here's the ultimate question for the comment section: when Jacob finally makes his move, who do you think the fans will cheer for more, Solo standing his ground or Jacob taking control? And why? I want your reasoning, no generic answers. Dive deep. Fans, this is more than a warning, it's a blueprint for a future storyline that could redefine SmackDown. The tension, the psychology, the silent stare-downs, they're all pieces of a puzzle that promises chaos, betrayal, and maybe even the end of an era for the Bloodline as we know it. And if you're still with me, here's the part that should make you angry, excited, and desperate to see what happens next. Solo Sikoa thought he was untouchable. He thought fear would shield him. But Jacob Fatu showed him backstage, quietly but powerfully, that fear can be reversed. That dominance isn't given, it's taken. And when the inevitable clash happens, history will remember this moment as the day the tables turned. Before we wrap up this breakdown, I want to leave you with one last trivia-style question for the comments. What was the last moment in WWE history where a backstage confrontation completely shifted a superstar's trajectory? Can you name the event, the wrestlers involved, and the outcome? Let's see who knows their wrestling history. So, Ring Rumble fans, remember this: don't just watch the matches. Watch the sidelines, watch the interactions, watch the silent power plays. Because sometimes the fight that changes everything happens before the bell rings. And Jacob Fatu just made that crystal clear. Next week, when SmackDown drops, pay attention to every look, every pause, every handshake, because those are the moments that decide who rules and who falls. And trust me, you're going to want to comment, share, and debate every single second of it. Who will rise? Who will fall? And who's really in charge of the Bloodline? The answers are coming, and Ring Rumble will break it all down for you. Drop your final take in the comments. Is this the beginning of Solo Sikoa's downfall, or the rise of Jacob Fatu as WWE's most dangerous force? And if you're ready for the chaos that's coming, make sure you're watching, because Ring Rumble will be here when the Bloodline explodes.